Today, I'm pleased to announce my appointment of Tony Catone as the next director of the South Carolina Department of Social Services. It is a very important position, and fortunately, we have a man who has been a leader, who's been educated, who's been tested, has enormous experience, and is ready to take this job. And we're looking forward to it very much. A little bit about him: he was born and raised in South Carolina, graduated from Lancaster High School, went to Clemson, and then got 2 degrees there, and then went to USC and got his Juris Doctor and Master of International Business Studies from Dartmouth School. He's spent years in public service, legal expertise. He's a lawyer. He's been in private practice as well as advising from his position at the Department of Social Services as counsel operations all over the state. He has a broad view of what is happening in our state and what we need to do. Prior to joining DSS, he served as Associate Vice President of Public Service Division at Florida Atlantic University. And I mentioned Clemson. He was Associate Executive Director of the Youth Learning Initiative there. And also he was the Chief of Operations of Clemson's pre-collegiate programs, which included a lot of things for young people who are not yet in college, including 4-H clubs and things of that nature. He is qualified, he is determined, he is the right fit for this job. He understands that we must assist, protect, and strengthen our young people and our families, the disabled, those who cannot help themselves. At least we hope to help them help themselves. And they are the most vulnerable in our state, and we must see that they are tended to and strengthened. He will do this with great skill, using his great experience, and will be accountable directly to the people. And we're delighted that here in our state, we happen to have the right man for this job at exactly the right time. Mr. Katone.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Governor McMaster, thank you for your trust in me and for this appointment to serve as the Director of the Department of Social Services. I'm deeply honored by the opportunity to serve the people of South Carolina and to lead an agency that plays such a critical role in the well-being of our communities. At DSS, we strive against hunger, poverty, abuse, and neglect, and we pursue the safety and well-being of children and vulnerable adults. As it happens, March is National Social Work Month. In our great state, most of us are taught from an early age to love and care for our neighbor as ourselves. Social service workers commit their lives and careers to doing just that, loving and caring for their neighbors and communities. And I would like to take this opportunity to honor my friends and colleagues who serve as social workers and social service providers who dedicate their lives to serving others. They're an integral part of our communities, advocating for children and families, assisting individuals facing mental health challenges, and providing support to our most vulnerable citizens. They work tirelessly, often behind the scenes, to improve the lives of others, to bring hope during difficulty and stability where there's uncertainty. To all the social workers and social service workers across South Carolina, I want to express my deepest gratitude. Your compassion, resilience, and commitment do not go unnoticed. You are everyday heroes, and I appreciate your service and your compassion. The work of the Department of Social Services is rooted in that compassion, but compassion alone is not enough. It must be paired with action. Our agency stands at the intersection of policy and people, where decisions must not only be well informed, but must also be driven by the needs of the individuals and families we serve. As we move from March into April, we recognize another critical issue, Child Abuse Prevention Month. Protecting our children is one of our most sacred responsibilities, and the people of social services strive daily to strengthen families and to provide the support needed to break cycles of harm and hardship. During April and beyond, we must reaffirm our commitment to prevention, developing community-based services so that families have access to the resources and support they need before a crisis occurs. This means strengthening child welfare services, expanding access to mental health care, and empowering communities to be proactive in protecting our children. We strive towards a day when every child grows up in a safe and loving home, and it will take teamwork, collaboration, coordination, and communication, Governor, as you often mention. It takes that among agencies, community organizations, and policymakers to make that day a reality. As we recognize these occasions, let us also take a moment to reflect on the power of service. Each of us has a role to play in making our communities stronger and more compassionate. Let us not only honor the work of social service workers, but also ask ourselves, how can we serve? How can we make a difference? Firstly, you can join with us in spirit by praying for families that we serve, that the intergenerational cycle of poverty or abuse can be broken, that the hearts of fathers and mothers would return to their children swiftly, and their family can be redeemed, rehabilitated, and healed before it's too late. Also, you can, of course, join us at the Department of Social Services. South Carolinians are a caring people, and yet we still have vacant positions at the Department of Social Services where you can serve in a range of ways, from helping people get nutrition benefits, to helping collect child support, to protecting the elderly and vulnerable, to serving as a foster care or adoption case manager. There's room for you at DSS. And lastly, the communities of our state remain in need of caring foster parents, and particularly foster parents who can love and minister sacrificially to our teens in foster care. You were a teenager once too, and I bet someone loved you through your difficulties. As written in Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. I accept this appointment with a profound sense of responsibility and a commitment to service and collaboration. If I am confirmed, we will work to strengthen our support systems and improve accessibility to essential services that uplift our most vulnerable citizens. And we will do this together because the strength of our state lies in the strength of our people and communities. Thank you again, Governor McMaster, for your leadership and for this appointment. Thank you to my colleagues, my mentors, my family, and to all those who believe in the power of social services to change lives. I look forward to serving the great state of South Carolina with dedication, with integrity, and a heart for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor, for inviting me to say a few words here today. I'm Sue Williams, CEO of Children's Trust. At Children's Trust, we work to prevent abuse and neglect before it ever happens by working with families across our state to give parents the tools and resources to be resilient, achieve stability, and to be self-sufficient so our children can be healthy and safe. One of the things we always say in prevention is that it happens in partnership, and the South Carolina Department of Social Services has always been one of our strongest partners. Over the last few years, we've seen improved outcomes in many areas at DSS, but there is still much more work to be done, and that's why I'm thrilled today to see Mr. Tony Catone named as its next director. Mr. Katone has the passion and leadership skills to take DSS to the next level. He understands the consequences when families struggle with hardships and children's safety is at risk. He also understands the selfless commitment the South Carolina Department of Social Services' entire workforce has to serve South Carolina by promoting the safety, permanency, and well-being of her children and her vulnerable adults. I want to thank Governor McMaster for his commitment to the children and families of South Carolina by naming Mr. Katone as Director of South Carolina Department of Social Services. We at Children's Trust look forward to working together in a continued partnership to create a South Carolina where all children thrive. Governor?
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone have a question?
Governor,
Yes.
months ago, when Director Leach announced he was stepping down, you had some pretty frank comments that day saying the state's child welfare system is coming to a breaking point. What do you think needs to be done under Mr. Catone to address it? Obviously, DSS is not the only system involved, but a key part of it.
Well, I will let Mr. Katone answer that question.
Yes, ma'am. I believe that our numerous agencies that serve children within the child welfare system have to work together jointly, have to collaborate in order to meet the needs of the children that we serve. To a great extent, that means that we have to collaborate on determining the proper investment for the resources that our communities need in order to meet those needs of children who have, for example, higher level mental health needs and higher level behavioral health needs.
You've been acting director for several months now. What specific, like if you could bullet point the top issue that needs to be the number one priority if you are confirmed, what would that be? A specific initiative goal that you need to.
Yes, ma'am. For probably the past 10 years, but particularly over the last 5 years, DSS has been engaged in reform efforts regarding foster care and its foster care program. The top goal will have to be, it must be, continuing that trajectory of improvement in our foster care program. Of particular note, like I mentioned a moment ago, we have to develop resources and community-based services to serve children who have higher level mental health and behavioral health needs. Top priority, and teens in foster care.
More questions?
Sue, as you had mentioned, certainly a lot of, Mr. Counsel, like you to stay there. It's
I
actually
won't-
for you, but
I won't,
talking to Sue.
oh,
too.
okay.
But as you mentioned, improvements made under Director Leach. Is there anything that you have seen, in your time serving under him that you hope to take the agency in a different direction?
I would not say that we would go in a different direction. Our goal is to continue our current positive trajectory. That isn't to say that there are no differences whatsoever, but the goal is to continue our current positive trajectory, and Director Leach did a great job for the people of South Carolina in taking the agency from where it was to where it is now, and my hope is that we can continue those gains and perhaps even accelerate them.
For a lot of your predecessors, this has obviously been a tough job, a stressful job. We've seen DSS directors come and go. Why do you feel so passionate about wanting this job in the first place?
Thank you for that question. So my affiliation with the work of DSS begins actually in my youth, where I was a victim of child abuse by a non-relative caregiver. And then my family served as a kinship family for a second cousin. That second cousin lived with us for almost 2 years and was able to be reunified successfully with his mother and father after they received appropriate mental health treatment. And so from a very early age, I have seen the impact and the positive impact that this agency can have. Whenever I made the choice to come to DSS, it was because I wanted to serve people, and particularly the people of South Carolina, my people. I wanted to love my neighbor as I love myself, and that's what we do at the Department of Social Services.
More questions? Thank you very much.